Hi, everybody. Hi, Ellie. It's good to have you back in class again. And Austin and Anika. Hope you're all doing well. Take a look at the materials that we're going to be using today. We're going to be using colored pencils. You'll want a pencil to sketch with, an eraser, pencil sharpener, a ruler, and some art paper. So take a second and grab your materials. And let's go ahead and start with a prayer. Lord, please guide us in our creative journey as we use our talents to show your joy, beauty, and love to the world. In Jesus' name, amen. So, yeah, today we're going to draw the tree frog. So, let's talk a little bit about colored pencils that we're going to be using. You can use colored pencils in a variety of different ways for different effects. You can make little dots called stippling, which possibly could be like a texture on the frog skin. Hatching is where you're drawing lines next to each other, not touching. This is good for like maybe you're drawing grass or something like that. Cross hatching, you're hatching, but you're also hatching the other way. Back and forth stroke is just your regular back and forth. And scumbling is kind of like little tiny scribbles. Those work nice for if you're doing a tree that's way far away in the distance and you want to give the illusion of leaves, but a little bit of light coming through, things like that. All right, so it is really important to keep your colored pencils sharp. So that's why I said grab a pencil sharpener. Um, and you can see the difference, and you can see why, because you get a difference in the look of the application of the colored pencil. So when you've got a very sharp colored pencil, you get a nice fine line. When you have a dull colored pencil, you're going to get a fatter type of line. So depending on what kind of look you want in your drawing, you may want to keep your pencil sharp. When you draw with your colored pencil and you have it in your hand, as you're coloring, you can slowly turn it in your fingers, and that way it will automatically keep the end of your pencil um, sharper that way. Um, I'm trying to get, wait a minute, who is Booth? Somebody signed in as Booth. Oh, it's Addie. Okay. Thank you. You had us wondering. Okay, so that's keen and dull. What else can I tell you about colored pencils? If you're doing a large area, hold your pencil like this and use the side to fill in. All righty. And here comes Colton. All right, for you, those of you who just came in, but that'd be fine, Oliver. We're using colored pencils today, and grab a ruler. And I'll show you why you need a ruler later. So, um, here's some close-ups of your tree frogs. They are not all green, but this will give you an idea of how you can color them. Oh, he's after something. He's after a drop of water, looks like. I'm not sure. He's got some interesting blue on him. Oh, I went the wrong way. Here we go. And here's our line art. So as you can see, he's peeking around the corner of something. Maybe he's on a building. So that's what you need your ruler for. So when you're laying out your paper, you can do it either way. You can do it landscape or portrait. I'm going to do mine portrait. Okay. So you can see where you need your line and make sure you have enough room for your tree frog. And you want to draw your line real lightly because you're going to be drawing over top of that line where his hands and foot goes. Well, I'm not sure they're not called hands, but we'll talk about his parts in a little bit. Here's a very pretty picture of him. Also, what was the other? I thought I had a red one on here. I have seen a red tree frog, which is kind of interesting. So go ahead and grab what you need. I'm going to switch over to my camera on my desk so you can watch me while. Oh, I finally found it. There it is. Took me a while, but there it is. Okay, so I'm going to draw mine with a Sharpie. You can use either a Sharpie or a um, graphite pencil, somewhere like an HB or close to that. And remember, we're going to draw a line first on our page because he's peeking around the corner. So we just want a light line that you can erase. Is you going to erase part of that? Okay. Now, usually I start with the eyes when I draw because I always start with a focal point and build around. But then I'm afraid that I might not leave enough space for his feet. So I think I'm going to start with his um, toes. Okay. So right about almost in the middle of your page, I'm going to start this right here. So keep an eye on the lines. Remember when we first started this class, I said that all of your shapes, all of your objects are based on 5 basic elements of shape. So this object has a lot of curved lines. Okay. So then he has a line right here. It leads up to his toe, which is a little rounded at the edge. And this toe overlaps that one a little bit, so we might need to draw that part. And then this comes down here, curves around, something like that. And then this comes around here. And then another one right here. And then there's a little knob right there. So we're really looking at the shapes, each part. And that kind of starts. But then there's some other lines on his toes. There's a line there. Something going on here. And then, I don't know. I think this comes up this way somewhere. Okay, so there's one. And then maybe I can start drawing this line here that he's holding on to. And then you'll see a little bit of the underside of his arm there. So there's his first foot. Now, there's a diverse family of tree frogs, and they're amphibians. There are over 800 species of these tree frogs. Can I make my screen bigger? No, it's on full screen. You might need to do that on, can you pin me on your side? Oh, okay. Yeah, because I'm pinned as big as I can go. So there's like 800 species of tree frogs, and they don't all live in trees. But there's one feature that unites all of them with their feet. And the last bone in their toe is called the terminal flanks. I think it's called flanks, and it's shaped like a claw. And I think that kind of helps them climb. So I'm going to come down here about, I don't know, inch and a half and start the other foot with a toe here. A couple curve lines for wrinkles. And then it comes back just a little bit right there. So that's kind of like this part right here. There's a see-through frog. No, never said that's weird. Um, and tree frogs also have toe pads to help them climb, and many have extra skeletal structures in their toes. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, I'm going to make another toe come up here, bulb out a little bit, and then come back around. So they have little suction cups at the end of the toes. Is that why they kind of bulb out a little bit in the end? And then what do we see? Oh, then okay, so then we're going to come down here with this one to his elbow. Come back up. Okay, so you can see this is going to go up and bump into where his head's going to be. So make sure you leave enough room for his eyes. I lightly sketched mine a little bit. And I'm going to stop right there. And I'm determined to get these toes and feet done first. So now I think they're more suctiony, like so they can stick to the side of things. I'll tell you something really sad. When I moved out here in the country, there were woods on both sides of me. And then right after I moved, they decided to sell the woods next to me on one side. And the tree people came in and they cut down all the trees. And it was so sad to hear those trees come down. And after they did that, there were dozens of tree frogs all over my property. So they must have lived in those woods. And then when those trees came down, they had to go somewhere. So they came over to my house and they hung around for about a season and then they all disappeared. I guess they finally went into the woods behind me or on the other side. Yeah, it's sad about the trees, but I think the tree frogs survived and slowly made it into the other woods, which is really kind of cool. Okay, so the back foot here. Um, so we have a curved line right there that stops. And then we have another curved line that comes down a little bit past that wall. And then down here, we got a curved line that comes up. And then you see the other half of this toe, about like that. Another one of those little shapes here. And I think that looks pretty good. Maybe a couple little curvy lines. And then we can finish that line. There we go. We're getting there. Okay, so this piece right here is his knee. And I left this line out here. So see that line right there? I left that out. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to add that right about there. And then I can do that shape for his knee that comes around and goes back there. And a line right there. And there we go. Okay, we got some more lines right here. We have one right here. And then this one is kind of like the underneath of the tree frog is textured, kind of bumpy. So this line might be a couple little curved, bumpy lines right there. All right, then we've got, let's leave that one off. Let's do this one right here that it edges up to his mouth. So, there's a line here that kind of comes up and then we're going to draw a line that curves around for his mouth and kind of bumps over here. So I'm going to draw a line that comes down and around, bumps into that line, and that's the bottom of his mouth. Now you see part of his neck right here. So we can add that, maybe just right there. Okay, now, how are we doing? Got his feet? Okay. So now we're going to do the top part of his lip, his mouth. Starts over here by his leg. Coming over here, start to curve around and bump in there. And there's his mouth. I'm not good at drawing circles, so I'm going to grab something round for his eye. And I usually grab my little graphic design template here for circles. But anything round will do. So, too big. That looks good. So I'm going to draw his first eye right about there. He does have a little smaller circle inside that. How small, I don't know. Here we go. Inside his eye, he has a shape like a cat's eye almost. It's shaped kind of like that. But his eye on this side, you only see a corner of it. You're only seeing half a circle, right? So that eye here is right above the corner of his mouth. I'm going to start with a curved line. And then what do we have? We have like a dome shape here for his eye. And then the black part of his eye is maybe kind of like that. Okay. On this side of the frog, we're going to bring a line down, kind of like that. And then just go off over here. There's a little line here that's just kind of showing his curves of his eye. Is this his nose? I don't know. I don't know why one of his nostrils show and the other one doesn't. That's kind of weird. And then on this side, we're going to come up to the top of the eye, come around, start aiming towards the other eye, curve down. There we go. And then just there's a little connecting piece right there. So what's missing? Just, I think, texture. Looks like there's a couple little crinkly lines around here. And we'll take a look at the picture of those tree frogs again. To see what kind of texture. They have like little scaly things down here. Okay, now you can have stuff in your background. You can make this into whatever you want. It could be a building. You could put texture on it. It could be um, wood. It could be a picket fence, whatever you want it to be. What might he be holding on? So let me know when you have this guy sketched, and then I'll go back to some of the pictures. I will unpen me right next to his right eye. I guess if you say so, I can't see it. All right. So I'm gonna unpin me when I figure out how, when I find all my things. Oh, it's in the way. Oh, here we go. See, I'm turning me. Um, I'm working on it. I always forget where things are. Oh, here it is. Okay, so I unpin me and then I gotta unwhole screen when I figure that out. Do, do, do. No, I found it. Exit full screen. There we go. And then what I'm gonna do is go back and share. Um, Wait a minute. Share our tree frog. Maybe that's not what I want to do. Here we go. You can also look online if you want to for different ideas for what your tree frog colors might be. Okay, so here he is, and you can see how the texture on his stomach is kind of rough looking. He's a pretty little guy though, isn't he? Okay, so be creative. Add, you can leave him like is. You could put stuff in the background. Maybe he has plants around him or leaves. There can be a variety of colors, but most of the species found in the US are green, gray, or brown. Some of them are chameleon-like in their ability to change color, just kind of cool. And then they have toe pads to help them climb, and many have extra skeletal structures in their toes. So they're pretty interesting little creatures. Okie dokie. You can see in his right eye where he has a little reflection of white. So you might want to leave a little part of his eye right white. And I'm going to be muting myself a lot because I'm going to be sharpening my pencils to keep them sharp, and my pencil sharpener makes lots of noise. The pencil sketch? Yeah, I will. Hold on. Let me grab it. I need to go back to my PowerPoint and pull that out. Hold on. Let's see. Here he is. Okay, hang on for a minute. Let me get him. Make some room here. And then I will share my whole screen this time. No, don't want to do that. Okay, wait a minute here. There you go. Oh, right here, I want to have a little shine. His eye. He's got a little shine. His eye also has several different tones of red in it. There's some dark red, a little bit lighter red. Don't be afraid to blend colors with your pencils. Well, I'm going to take a deeper red. Whoops, spilling them all. And add some deeper shades. Oh, what have we got there? How'd you do that so fast? Okay, so what I would do if you're going to keep working on that one is really work with your pencils to get a nice smooth look. You can layer some different colors over each other with your pencils to really make it pop. Get your lights and darks, like look for the shadows and look for the highlights. In his face, I see some yellow, some green, light green, dark green. If your colored pencils came with a colorless blender, which looks like a pencil, but it just has no color, you can use that to blend. If you use several different colors on your frog face, you can blend them together with your colorless blender. If your colored pencil set came with something called a burnisher, that is for if you have an area where you don't want any, like you're doing a real solid color and you don't want any of the white paper to show through it, then the burnisher pushes that colored pencil into every little nook and cranny on that page, on that paper. So that's the difference between a burnisher and a colorless blender. Colorless blender for blending and burnisher for getting a real deep, solid color. Okay, Addie, I was wondering what was going on. I'm sorry that happened. He has blues and purples and all different colors on him. This, that's a yellow. You know my area here. Another thing you can do to protect your drawing is put a piece of paper or paper towel or Kleenex under your hand so the moistness in your hand doesn't smudge your pencil. Okay, wait a minute. Addie, do you want to show yours?